Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so it's 5 a.m. I've been up for an hour now, and I decided it was time to do the Laker video because we do play tonight at 5:30 on ABC, nationally televised game here in Los Angeles against the Golden State Warriors. And I decided I would do a little homework since I couldn't go back to sleep. The Warriors have been without Steph Curry for the last 3 games, which means, uh, well, not a whole lot as it pertains to what you expect to see tonight because these are game time decisions. So you can do all the homework in the world, studying their tendencies, and then they just throw them out there and you got something else to look at. But that's really what it is, man. They had a game against the uh, Dallas Mavericks last where both teams shot under 35%. In fact, Dallas won the game and shot 22% from behind the arc. I think Golden State was 33%. Chris Paul is healthy, so they do have a lead point guard out there, but it hasn't translated to a whole lot of success, and they've lost 3 of their last 5, I believe is what it was. So yeah, that Dallas situation was interesting because Luka had another triple double, and Daniel Gafford was on a seriously long field goal streak that just got broken yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. But he was up there with some great players, approaching Wilt with like 35 straight field goals made or something like that. Very, very impressive stuff. But nevertheless, the Golden State Warriors have been struggling from behind the arc, man. That's what it really comes down to. Podziemski and Klay Thompson and Wiggins and Chris Paul, they all had a very cold night in that one. And that's kind of been the story for the last couple of days. They had a back-to-back against San Antonio like we did as well earlier in the season. And it went the exact same way ours did. They won one, lost one. The first one they played, they lost by like more than 10 points, and Wemby wasn't even on the floor. Of course, they didn't have Steph, but that's still not really an excuse if you ask me to be losing to a Wemby-less Spur team. But that's what happened. They got knocked off by him and then came back the next night and won the game against the Spurs. So this is a struggling Golden State team without Steph Curry. But I can tell you Trace Jackson Davis has been balling, and we need to take him very seriously because he was one of the reasons why we lost that last game against them. And dude is a problem. Dale Davis's son, and he's playing like it. He dunked on Wemby, or threw a strong layup, as they call it, against Wemby. Blake Griffin-like layup type dunk, throw in type thing. That was really, really special. I encourage everybody to go check out that highlight if you haven't already seen it. But that was the game they won, I believe. I think that was the game they won against the Spurs. So, Golden State is struggling, but they are finding development processes with guys like Podziemski, Trace, and of course Kuminga, who's been really kind of the focal point of what they've been doing offensively with Steph out. While other guys have been inconsistent, they've kind of been relying upon him. And I think that'll pay great dividends later on as he continues to get better. So, this Golden State team, we got to look at them differently than maybe the Spurs would or the Dallas Mavericks were able to, because they just play better against us. Guys like Wiggins tend to have big games against us. Podziemski played well against us last. As I said, Trace played great. And I expect for them to have a heightened level of focus against us, given the fact they know we are too struggling for our standards. Although we've won 3 of our last 5 games, we lost those games to teams that we really can't seem to beat at all. And so it leaves us kind of deflated despite having a winning record. The last game we played in was against the Sacramento Kings, where they completely embarrassed us, really humiliated our squad. We didn't play up to the standards that I expect from us, even in the losses. You know what I mean? Even when we don't play well, I feel like we played below that standard. It was just a game that made us feel like we were not taking steps forward. Bron had a bad game. AD had a bad game. D'Lo had a disappearing act. A lot of chatter was going on around our team about stuff that was going on in regards to D'Lo speaking about Schroeder and the whole thing. Just, I thought, threw a monkey wrench in the focus of the team. Plus, AD's birthday was the night before, so maybe guys had some lag because of that. But at this time of year, when it's only like 15 games left, the fact that this team wasn't ready to go against one of their biggest opponents uh, just speaks to their lack of focus and their lack of ability to really do what we want them to do. So at this point, we're trying to be optimistic, but the one thing we've learned about this team is you don't know nothing about this team. They don't tend to make any sense when it comes to what you're trying to predict. Sometimes they play well when you expect them not to, and do things that you wouldn't even expect for them to, with their stars missing and stuff like that. Other times they have everybody, well, everybody is in what we're used to all year, because we've definitely had injury issues all year long, which is a big part of the problem. But they'll come out there with everybody we're used to using and just struggle against teams that you expect to win games against. So tonight, I'd imagine it's a big game, an ABC game against Golden State. Last time we had one of those, it went into double overtime, and we were extremely thrilled about the outcome. We won the game, and we're hopeful we could do that tonight against this team at home, since that was a road victory. So we just need the guys to lick their wounds, come back, play strong, bounce back. They tend to bounce back, so we hope that will take place. But right now we're in ninth, and we're hoping to get out of the play-in tournament area, and that just doesn't look very possible right now. We need teams to do a lot of losing in order for that to be the case. So we got to take care of our business and, try to keep the faith. I think that's what it really is. This team is very unpredictable, as already mentioned, and I really don't know what to say other than let's watch each game with a question mark, and if they do something special, congrats to Laker Nation. If they don't, then I don't think being surprised is probably the way to go. I don't know, and my faith isn't high, so that's the unfortunate part, man. They keep us on a roller coaster, but they do just enough for us not to believe in them, rather than the other way around, and so we'll see what happens tonight. That's going to be my attitude from here on out. No low expectations. Always ready to be disappointed at this point, and always ready to be thrilled as well. They could have a great game. They're more than capable of doing that. A lot of rest is ahead for this Laker team, which bodes well for players who are trying to get healthy, like Gabe Vincent and Vanderbilt. We do play, of course, tonight. Monday we got the Hawks, and then we don't play again until Friday. So that's a good 4 days rest, 4 nights rest rather. And I think that could bode well for the team in practice if they choose to use that time to do so. And I think it could bode very well with the healing, as already mentioned. So hopefully we can get that done. Now, of course, I have to say Steph Curry and Draymond Green are a game time decision. I don't know what their ailments are. Well, of course, Steph has been out with the ankle, but I'm not sure what's going on with Dre. With the Lakers, we still have the same situation. Colin Castleton, Vanderbilt, Vincent, Wood, and Cam Reddish are all out. LeBron and AD game time decision as usual, and I expect them to play. But hopefully this week we can start getting people back. I know that Vanderbilt hasn't started ramping any conditioning going, but Vincent has. So hopefully that means good things for him. Christian Wood's been traveling with the team. Hopefully that means he'll be back soon. And we could really use the help, man. Our team is, if we're going to ever get healthy this season, now's the time to try to get guys back and incorporate them into what we do in time for the play-in tournament, so that we're not struggling with our rotations in that situation. So I don't think we're at risk to fall out of the play-in tournament. We got to do a whole lot of losing, and other teams behind us got to do a whole lot of winning in order for that to happen. So the lowest we're probably going to fall is 10th, though mathematically we're not clinching anything yet. But we do want to get out of this one and done game type situation. So if we could at least climb up to 8, that'll give us a little cushion. But with 1, 2, and 3 kind of teetering back and forth right now, with Denver and OKC flopping back and forth each and every loss and win, you just don't know how to position yourself if you're a team that's trying to avoid Denver. So it's a tough situation. I just think the Lakers should win every game you're in. That should be the mentality. But the mentality of this team, honestly, doesn't appear to make any real sense, and you just don't know what you're gonna get from them. at all. So, that's where my head is as a Laker fan. My enthusiasm isn't as high, just because I'm sick of being on this roller coaster with this roster. I really am. And granted, with people missing, we haven't seen the full look of what this team's supposed to be. But you know, I'm over this season, to be honest with you. And maybe the postseason can give us something else. And we have had some fantastic games this year that we won't soon forget. But it's a bit nerve wracking as a fan. It's a bit irritating, I guess is what I would call it. Watching this squad night in and night out, following them, and just understanding that they have so much potential on certain nights, and then other nights they just don't appear to really care. Really, to be honest with you, they don't really appear to really have it as a unit. In other instances, it's not even about care; it's about strategy and how poor that strategy is. And when people don't believe in their strategy, they don't tend to execute it very well. And so, leaving shooters open, that philosophy, I think, is tired. We tend to do it a lot, and that was a big part of the problem against the Sacramento Kings. Even though the Golden State Warriors have been struggling from behind the arc as of late, they are still the Warriors. And leaving guys like Wiggins, Pajimski, Klay Thompson, obviously Steph Curry, open from behind the arc, it's a terrible idea. Chris Paul, leaving them open is a terrible idea. So I expect the Lakers to do that, and I expect us to get bit by that, just like Keegan Murray and Harrison Barnes bit us in the last one. Because that's exactly what happened. I think those dudes alone hit like 12 threes in combination of one another. So it was a nightmare. It really was, that Sacramento Kings game. And that's kind of what we're trying to bounce back from. We've had success against the Golden State Warriors. I think it would go a long way if we could win the season series. I think we do play them once more after this, because they've bunched all of our matchups with Golden State together at the end of the calendar here. So we will see them. I believe this is the third matchup. I'm almost positive this is the third matchup of four. So yeah, man, let's get another crack at this team, man. They are definitely one of our rivals at this point. Given the fact we had that double overtime game, knocked them out of the playoffs last year, knocked them out of the play-in tournament, I think 2 years back. So, I'm sure they always are interested in beating us. We tend to match up well against them when we have our core intact. As I said, Wiggins tends to play very well against the Lakers, man. He's a Laker killer type of guy. And Laker killers have tend to show up in these last couple of times I've been saying that. So I do not expect a bad game from Wiggins by any stretch of the imagination. I don't. Even though he's been missing, he had some things going on personally with him. He pulled him away from the game. He will be there tonight. So always keep an eye on him. Kuminga, Trace. Those are guys that really play well against us. So we need to keep our eyes open and be ready for what they bring to the table. Moses Moody is coming off a bad game. If I'm not mistaken, that was the last one. He shot very poorly from off the bench. But he tends to play well against us, etc. So, you guys know who the Golden State Warriors are. You have to be ready for shooting. Or even if they're coming off a game where they shot 30-something%, they may go 60-something% against us. But it's a road game. They're not a great team. And I think it's noteworthy that they're the team in 10th place. So if you think they're just going to be looking to stay in that spot, you better be ready, because that is not going to be the case. They are fighting for their playoff lives just like we are. And we're the team in the way of them having some cushion, or at least having home court advantage in that game. So even though we see them twice with this game and the next one coming up, it is very likely that we see them again in the play-in tournament for a one-and-done situation. So this atmosphere tonight is going to be electric. Like I said, it's nationally televised. We've already had a game that went into double overtime with the squad, and that's the setup for tonight. Whether the team shows up for that or not, you tell me. But I would think a basketball team would be up for this one. You know what I mean? I would think. So that's kind of my attitude, man. I think that's a lot of Laker Nation's attitude. There have been times where I've disliked my team as it pertains to our roster. There have been times where I was just hopeless and didn't think we could win anything. This isn't that. What this is just me being frustrated with a team uh, because I can't never actually get a hold on what it is that they are about. On one hand, you've seen them win so many games that really impress you. On the other hand, they showed you just stuff that is just not inspiring at all. And anytime you think you have a hold on who they are, they show you the opposite. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm not a fan of that. I'm just not a fan of that. I don't particularly like that pulse at all. Um, so yeah, that's what it is, man. Hopefully this team can do great things. Though at the same time, once you get into the playoffs, you can change that narrative. You can write your own history and maybe get a little healthier so we can define ourselves a bit better. But when your injuries have defined the season, I don't. There has not been one single day where this team has been very 100% healthy at all this season, and maybe that defines the story a bit more so than we've discussed. But just the same, it's been extremely frustrating, extremely. So that's it, man. We're in the tail end of this season. Like I said, about 15 games left or something of that nature, and we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do, man. That's really how I'm approaching it. Your Los Angeles Lakers are gonna be wearing their whites, as we always do on the weekend, and we will see the Golden State Warriors wearing their navy blue Golden State road jerseys. I think the same ones we saw them in last time. And as I said, the game will be at 5:30. And hopefully we'll get some good news on some of these injured players, man, this week. Because with all the time off, there should be no reason we don't have an opportunity to do so. Um, I've been liking what I've been seeing from a couple of our players. Austin Reeves has been shooting pretty well. Jackson Hayes has been doing good things with his minutes over the last several weeks. Rui's been hot and cold, but we have seen some high versions of Rui. Of course, D'Lo's coming off the awful game. Hopefully he can bounce back from that because we have seen him play well as of late. Uh, of course, AD had the massive line that had never been done before, where he had like 27 points, 26 rebounds, what was it, seven blocks, I believe it was, 5 assists, and no, 3 blocks, 7 steals. I think that's how that went. So, yeah, definitely a historic line there against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who were missing some of their players at his position, and he was able to take advantage of that. But then laid an egg against the Golden State Warriors. Against the Sacramento Kings, where Sabonis won his 10th straight game against him. So, we'd like to think that AD bounces back tonight, is embarrassed enough as we were about how that went, and does some things differently. Um, Maybe put himself in a position to have a fantastic game once again, a bounce back game. So, and Braun, of course, coming off the not so good game, even though the stats tell you that he did fill it up in other areas. His shooting was bad, and he did look a bit lethargic out there. So hopefully, he's gotten the rest he needs to come in and be strong against Golden State. But yeah, I mean, we really need our team to come together right now, man. If they're gonna make a push to do something special, they got about 15 games to do it, man. And not a whole lot to lose. The expectations are not very high at this point. So, if they could really come together and just understand that the pressure is not as on as it's been, just because people are just like, whatever, with this team, then maybe they can come in and have a bit more of a clear mindset against opponents like Golden State on a big platform, because that's where your fan base is. LA, we tired and we like, whatever, fam. That's exactly where most of us are at with this team. So yeah, man, still rooting for them, but big changes will coming in the offseason one way or another. Unless this team wins a championship, I can see people moved around a little bit, because this is not up to Lakers standard. Just cut and dry. What we've seen that is not up to what we believe we should, and a lot of people think we should lower our standards just because of the era we're in, how difficult it is to put together teams and dominate and all of these different things. But the zebra doesn't change the stripes, man. We are who we are, and we expect a certain quality from our squad, and we haven't gotten it. That's what it comes down to. Laker Nation demands more. So hopefully this team could show us something special tonight, and we'll root them on. But that's on them, man. It's up to them to change that narrative now. So that's where we're at. That's my attitude. That's what I'm bringing to you guys early in the morning. A lot can change in regards to this injury report. Players could hop in, hop out. You know how that goes. It's too early to even know. But that's what we have for now. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.